Have you ever felt trapped by your own thoughts, overwhelmed by a racing mind that just won't quit? Imagine gaining the power to take control, finding peace, and turning chaos into clarity. In this video, ZENLIGHT 8 dives into 13 practical Stoic techniques to master your mind and live a happier, more balanced life. Stick around until the end to discover tools you can apply right now to transform your daily experience. Subscribe and join our journey to inner peace. You've probably had one of those moments. You're sitting in a quiet coffee shop, the aroma of freshly brewed coffee filling the air, and yet your mind is racing. Thoughts about yesterday's argument, tomorrow's deadlines, or that one embarrassing moment from years ago swirl like a storm, pulling you away from the present. It's as if your mind is a relentless river, carrying you downstream without your consent. But what if you could step out of that current, stand on the shore, and simply watch the waters flow by? What if you could find peace by realizing that every thought, every worry, every emotion is as fleeting as a breeze? This is the essence of understanding impermanence, a cornerstone of Stoic philosophy that holds the key to mental freedom. As Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." By embracing the transient nature of all things, you can loosen the grip of negative thoughts, cultivate resilience, and live more fully in the present. Let's dive into this profound Stoic principle, explore its depth, and uncover practical ways to apply it to our fast-paced, modern lives. Impermanence is the heartbeat of existence. Everything changes. Seasons shift, rivers carve new paths, and even the mightiest mountains erode over time. Our thoughts, too, are part of this eternal dance of change. They arise, linger for a moment, and then fade, like clouds drifting across a vast sky. The Stoics, with their razor-sharp focus on what we can control, remind us that clinging to these fleeting thoughts is a recipe for suffering. When we treat a negative thought, a worry about a work presentation, a pang of regret over a missed opportunity, as permanent, we give it power it doesn't deserve. We let it define us, dictate our emotions, and cloud our judgment. But when we see thoughts for what they are, temporary visitors in the vast landscape of our minds, we reclaim our inner strength. This realization isn't just philosophical. It's a practical tool for navigating the chaos of modern life, where distractions and stressors compete for our attention every day. Consider Sarah, a 32-year-old marketing manager in Chicago. Last year, she faced a crushing setback. Her team's major campaign flopped, costing her company thousands of dollars. For weeks, Sarah was haunted by thoughts of failure. "I'm not cut out for this," she'd tell herself, lying awake at night, her mind replaying every misstep. The weight of those thoughts felt permanent, like a tattoo etched into her soul. But then, during a mindfulness workshop, she encountered the Stoic idea of impermanence. The facilitator asked her to visualize her thoughts as leaves floating down a stream, each one drifting away no matter how heavy it seemed. Sarah began practicing this daily. When a thought like, "I'm a failure," surfaced, she'd pause, take a deep breath, and remind herself, "This too shall pass." Over time, she noticed something remarkable. The thoughts didn't vanish, but their grip on her weakened. She could observe them without being consumed, allowing her to focus on what she could control, learning from the campaign's mistakes and planning the next one. Today, Sarah leads her team with renewed confidence, not because her thoughts stopped, but because she stopped letting them control her. This shift in perspective is where Stoicism meets critical thinking. In our hyper-connected world, we're bombarded with information, social media posts, news alerts, work emails, all vying for our mental real estate. It's easy to fall into the trap of believing every thought that pops up is urgent or true. But impermanence invites us to question that assumption. Why should a fleeting worry about a coworker's comment or a spike of anxiety before a meeting hold sway over our entire day? By applying critical thinking, we can challenge the validity of these thoughts. Are they rooted in evidence, or are they just passing clouds of emotion? This practice aligns with cognitive behavioral therapy, which encourages us to examine and reframe distorted thinking patterns. For instance, if you catch yourself thinking, "I'll never get this project done," Pause and ask, is that true? What evidence supports it? More often than not, you'll find the thought is an exaggeration, a momentary distortion that doesn't deserve your allegiance. Embracing impermanence also fosters emotional resilience, a vital skill in today's unpredictable world. Think about the last time you faced a major life change, a job loss, a breakup, or even a global event like a pandemic. These moments can feel like the end of the world, as if the pain or uncertainty will last forever. But history, both personal and collective, proves otherwise. The Stoics, like Seneca, who faced exile and loss, understood this deeply. Seneca wrote, "Nothing lasts forever, not even our troubles." This isn't about dismissing pain, but about putting it in perspective. When you remind yourself that even the darkest moments are temporary, you create space to process emotions without being overwhelmed. This mindset helped people like John, a veteran from Texas who struggled with PTSD after his deployment. Haunted by intrusive thoughts, John felt trapped in a cycle of fear. Through therapy, he learned to practice Stoic impermanence, visualizing his traumatic memories as waves that rise and fall. By acknowledging their temporary nature, he gradually reduced their emotional charge, finding moments of peace he hadn't thought possible. How can we apply this principle in our daily lives? Start small, as the Stoics did, with intentional practices that ground you in the present. One powerful exercise is to set aside 5 minutes each morning to observe your thoughts. Sit quietly, close your eyes, and imagine your mind as a clear blue sky. As thoughts arise, worries about the day, plans for dinner, random memories, don't fight them. Instead, label them gently. That's a worry, that's a plan, and let them drift away like clouds. This practice, rooted in mindfulness, trains you to see thoughts as transient rather than defining. Over time, you'll notice a shift. Negative thoughts lose their stickiness, and you gain a sense of mental spaciousness. Another practical step is to use the phrase, "this too shall pass," as a mantra during tough moments. Whether you're stuck in a traffic jam on the I-95, reeling from a heated argument, or facing a looming deadline, repeating this phrase can anchor you. It's a reminder that the frustration, anger, or stress you feel is not your permanent state. In a 2023 study from the University of California, researchers found that brief mindfulness interventions, like repeating calming phrases, reduce stress by up to 20% in high-pressure situations. This simple Stoic tool can be your lifeline in the hustle of modern life, whether you're navigating a packed schedule or a personal crisis. Impermanence also invites us to let go of attachment, not just to negative thoughts but to positive ones too. This might sound counterintuitive. Why let go of happiness? But the Stoics knew that clinging to fleeting joys sets us up for suffering when they inevitably fade. Imagine you land a big promotion at work. The thrill is electric, but if you tie your identity to that moment, you'll crash when challenges arise, like a tough new project or a critical boss. By appreciating the promotion without clutching it, you stay grounded, ready for whatever comes next. This balance is what allows us to live fully in the present, savoring each moment without being tethered to it. In a world obsessed with permanence, building lasting legacies, chasing eternal youth, or seeking unbreakable relationships, the Stoic embrace of impermanence is radical. It's a call to stop fighting the natural flow of life and instead move with it. In 2025, as we juggle remote work, social media pressures, and global uncertainties, this principle is more relevant than ever. By recognizing that our thoughts, like everything else, are fleeting, we free ourselves from their tyranny. We learn to observe, not obey, to reflect, not react. This is the path to mental freedom, where we control our inner world no matter what storms rage outside. As we've explored the power of impermanence, we've seen how it can transform our relationship with our thoughts, grounding us in the present and fostering resilience. But this is just the beginning. Next, we'll dive into mindfulness, a practice that builds on this foundation, helping us stay anchored in the now while navigating the endless stream of thoughts that life throws our way. The morning sun spills through your window, casting a warm glow across your bedroom. You're sipping coffee, the rich aroma grounding you for a moment, but then your phone buzzes. A work email, a news alert, a text from a friend. Suddenly, your mind is a whirlwind, darting between yesterday's mistakes, tomorrow's to-do list, and that nagging worry about a looming deadline. It's as if you're a passenger in your own head, swept along by a current of thoughts you didn't choose. In these moments, the Stoic practice of mindfulness offers a lifeline, a way to anchor yourself in the present and reclaim control over your inner world. Building on the understanding of impermanence, mindfulness teaches us to observe our thoughts without judgment, to savor the moment without clinging to it, and to find peace amid life's chaos. And when paired with focused attention, a practice that sharpens our mental clarity like a laser, these Stoic tools empower us to live with intention, resilience, and joy. Let's explore these transformative practices, weave them into the fabric of our modern lives, and discover how they can help us navigate the relentless pace of 2025 with grace and purpose. Mindfulness is more than a buzzword. It's a way of being, a deliberate choice to root yourself in the now. The Stoics, though they didn't use the term mindfulness, embodied its essence through their emphasis on self-awareness and control over the mind. Epictetus once said, "You become what you give your attention to." In a world where our attention is fractured by smartphones, social media, and the constant hum of notifications, this wisdom is a clarion call. Mindfulness invites us to pause, to breathe, and to notice the world as it is, not as our racing thoughts paint it. It's about sitting at your desk and feeling the weight of your body in the chair, hearing the hum of the air conditioner, or tasting the bitterness of your coffee. It's about watching a thought, say, "I'm not good enough," arise like a bubble in a stream and letting it float away without chasing it. This practice isn't about emptying your mind, but about becoming the observer of your thoughts, not their servant. Imagine Lisa, a 28-year-old nurse in Seattle, whose days are a blur of long shifts, beeping monitors, and emotional highs and lows. After a particularly grueling week, she found herself spiraling into anxiety, her mind replaying every patient interaction, every decision she questioned. Exhausted, she stumbled upon a mindfulness app and began a simple practice. 5 minutes each morning, sitting quietly, focusing on her breath. At first, her mind wandered constantly, to her schedule, her fears, her to-do list. But instead of fighting these thoughts, she learned to acknowledge them gently. "That's a worry," she'd think, and return to her breath. Over weeks, Lisa noticed a shift. The chaos of her thoughts didn't disappear, but she felt less controlled by it. During a high-stress shift, when a patient's condition worsened, she paused, took a deep breath, and grounded herself in the moment. This allowed her to respond with clarity, not panic, saving critical time. Mindfulness didn't change her circumstances, but it changed how she moved through them, giving her a sense of agency over her inner world. This practice aligns with critical thinking, a skill the Stoics prized for its ability to cut through mental noise. In 2025, we're inundated with information, X posts, news headlines, and viral videos all screaming for our attention. Mindfulness trains us to question which thoughts deserve our focus. Are you ruminating over a coworker's offhand comment because it's truly significant? Or is it just a fleeting emotional trigger? By observing thoughts without immediately believing them, we create space to challenge their validity. This echoes cognitive behavioral therapy, which teaches us to identify distorted thinking patterns, like assuming a single mistake defines our worth. A 2024 study from Stanford University found that mindfulness practices increased emotional regulation by 25% in participants, helping them respond to stressors with greater calm. For Lisa, this meant recognizing that her anxiety about a patient's outcome wasn't evidence of failure but a natural response to a high-stakes job. By questioning her thoughts, she freed herself from their grip, focusing instead on what she could control, her actions. Mindfulness also fosters emotional resilience, a lifeline in our unpredictable world. Think about the last time you felt overwhelmed, maybe during a family conflict or a financial setback. These moments can make the present feel unbearable, as if peace is a distant dream. But mindfulness reminds us that the present is all we truly have. The Stoics, like Marcus Aurelius, practiced this by reflecting on the moment at hand, letting go of regrets about the past and worries about the future. When you wash dishes, Feel the warm water on your hands, hear the clink of plates, and let your mind rest in the task. When you eat, savor each bite, noticing the texture and flavor, rather than scrolling through your phone. These small acts of presence accumulate, creating pockets of peace that anchor you through life's storms. For Lisa, mindfulness meant finding calm during a 12-hour shift by focusing on the rhythm of her steps as she walked the hospital halls. A simple act that grounded her amid chaos. How can we weave mindfulness into our busy lives? Start with a daily practice, even if it's just 5 minutes. Find a quiet spot, your living room, a park bench, or even your car before work. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and notice the air moving through your nose, the rise and fall of your chest. When thoughts arise, don't fight them. Label them planning, worrying, remembering, and return to your breath. Apps like Headspace or Calm can guide you, but the beauty of mindfulness is its simplicity. All you need is your attention. Try integrating it into daily routines too. When you brush your teeth, focus on the sensation of the bristles, the taste of toothpaste. When you walk your dog, notice the crunch of gravel underfoot, the wag of their tail. These moments of presence train your mind to stay grounded, reducing the mental clutter that fuels stress. Mindfulness also transforms how we connect with others. In a 2025 world dominated by virtual meetings and text threads, it's easy to half-listen, nodding while your mind wanders. But practicing presence during conversations, really hearing someone's words, noticing their tone, builds deeper relationships. Imagine sitting with a friend over coffee, phones tucked away, fully attuned to their story. This act of mindfulness not only strengthens your bond, but also quiets your own mental noise. A 2023 study from the University of Michigan showed that mindful listening reduced stress by 15% in both the listener and the speaker, creating a ripple effect of calm. By giving others your full attention, you cultivate a sense of shared humanity, a Stoic ideal that reminds us we're all part of a larger whole. As mindfulness anchors us in the present, the practice of focused attention sharpens our ability to steer our minds with precision. If mindfulness is like standing on the shore, watching the river of thoughts flow, focused attention is like navigating that river with a steady hand on the helm. The Stoics understood that our minds are pulled in countless directions, by distractions, emotions, and the endless stimuli of daily life. Without a focal point, we're like a car swerving on a busy highway, at risk of mental accidents like stress or impulsivity. Focused attention meditation, often centered on a single point like the breath, a mantra, or a visual image, trains us to hold our mental steering wheel steady, guiding our thoughts toward calm and clarity. Consider James, a 40-year-old software engineer in San Francisco, whose days were a blur of coding, meetings, and family responsibilities. Constantly multitasking, he felt scattered, his mind jumping from emails to deadlines to his daughter's soccer game. Frustrated, he began practicing focused attention meditation after reading about Stoicism online. Each evening, he'd sit for 10 minutes, focusing on his breath, counting each inhale and exhale. When his mind wandered to a bug in his code or a grocery list, he'd gently bring it back to the count. At first, it felt like wrestling a restless toddler, but over weeks, James noticed a change. He could focus longer during coding sessions, catching errors faster. In meetings, he listened more intently, contributing sharper ideas. Even at home, he was more present, playing board games with his daughter without checking his phone. Focused attention didn't eliminate distractions, but it gave him the tools to navigate them with purpose. This practice is a form of mental discipline, a Stoic virtue that aligns with modern neuroscience. A 2024 study from MIT found that focused attention meditation increased activity in the prefrontal cortex, the brain's control center for decision-making and concentration, by up to 30%. This explains why James could tackle complex coding problems with greater ease. His brain was literally rewiring for focus. In our digital age, where the average American checks their phone 144 times a day, this skill is a superpower. Focused attention helps us resist the pull of notifications, stay on task, and approach challenges with a clear head. It's like upgrading your mental operating system, making you more efficient and resilient. Focused attention also reduces stress by giving us a mental anchor. When anxiety spikes, say before a big presentation or during a heated argument, our thoughts can spiral, amplifying the problem. By focusing on a single point, like the rhythm of your breath or a calming phrase like, "I am here," you create a mental refuge. This technique saved Maria, a 35-year-old teacher in Miami, during a chaotic school year. Overwhelmed by lesson plans and disruptive students, she felt on the verge of burnout. A colleague suggested a Stoic-inspired practice. During breaks, Maria would sit at her desk, close her eyes, and repeat the mantra "Stay present" while focusing on her breath. After just 5 minutes, her heart rate slowed, and her mind cleared, allowing her to return to class with renewed patience. This simple act of focus became her daily reset, helping her manage stress without collapsing under its weight. How can you incorporate focused attention into your life? Start with a short meditation practice. Set a timer for 5 minutes, sit comfortably, and choose a focal point. Your breath, a word like calm, or even a candle flame if you're visual. If you're focusing on your breath, notice the cool air entering your nostrils, the warmth as you exhale. When your mind drifts, don't judge it. Gently guide it back. Over time, extend the practice to 10 or 15 minutes. You can also apply focused attention to daily tasks. When writing an email, close all other tabs and focus solely on your words. When driving, turn off the radio and notice the road, the feel of the steering wheel. These moments of single-pointed focus build mental muscle, making it easier to stay present under pressure. In 2025, focused attention is a rebellion against a world designed to scatter our minds. Social media algorithms, 24/7 news cycles, and the gig economy thrive on our distraction, pulling us away from what matters. The Stoics, who faced their own distractions in the bustling Roman Empire, knew the value of mental clarity. Seneca wrote, "To be everywhere is to be nowhere." By training our minds to focus, we reclaim our attention, our time, and our sense of purpose. This practice also enhances our relationships. When you give someone your undivided attention, whether it's your partner, your child, or a coworker, you signal that they matter. A 2023 survey by the Pew Research Center found that 68% of Americans feel unheard in daily interactions, a gap that focused attention can bridge. Together, mindfulness and focused attention form a powerful Stoic toolkit for modern life. Mindfulness grounds us in the present, teaching us to observe thoughts without being swept away. Focused attention sharpens our mental lens, helping us steer through distractions with precision. Both practices remind us that we are not our thoughts but the ones who choose which thoughts to follow. In a world that demands our constant reaction, these tools offer freedom, the freedom to pause, to reflect, and to live with intention. As we master these skills, we set the stage for deeper Stoic practices that bring us closer to inner peace. Next, we'll explore walking meditation and compassion meditation, two practices that extend mindfulness into movement and connection, helping us find calm in our steps and kindness in our hearts. Picture yourself stepping out into a crisp autumn morning, the air cool against your skin, leaves crunching underfoot as you walk through a park. Your phone is silent, tucked away, and for once, your mind isn't racing with to-do lists or worries. Instead, you feel the rhythm of your steps, the gentle sway of your arms, the breeze brushing your face. Each movement grounds you, pulling you into the present moment, where anxiety fades and clarity emerges. This is the essence of walking meditation, a Stoic-inspired practice that marries movement with mindfulness, transforming a simple walk into a pathway to inner peace. And when paired with compassion meditation, which nurtures kindness toward yourself and others, these practices deepen our connection to the world, fostering resilience and meaningful relationships. Building on the foundations of mindfulness and focused attention, walking and compassion meditation offer dynamic ways to embody Stoic wisdom in our fast-paced lives. Let's explore these transformative practices, weave them into the fabric of 2025, and discover how they can help us find calm in motion and love in connection. Walking meditation is a bridge between the stillness of seated mindfulness and the demands of daily life. The Stoics, who valued practical wisdom, would have appreciated its simplicity. It requires no special equipment, no secluded space, just your body and your attention. In a world where we're often disconnected from our physical selves, hunched over laptops, scrolling through X, or rushing from one task to the next, walking meditation brings us back to our bodies, our breath, and the earth beneath us. It's about walking with intention, noticing each step, the way your foot meets the ground, the subtle shift of weight from heel to toe. It's about feeling the air, hearing the rustle of leaves, and letting your mind rest in the act of moving. Unlike a casual stroll where your thoughts might wander to tomorrow's meeting or last night's argument, walking meditation invites you to stay present, to make each step a deliberate act of awareness. Take Emily, a 34-year-old graphic designer in Portland, Oregon, who felt trapped in a cycle of stress. Her days were packed with client deadlines, and her evenings were spent doom scrolling, her mind a tangle of worry. She loved walks in her neighborhood park, but often used them to listen to podcasts or check emails, never truly present. Then, during a wellness retreat, she learned about walking meditation. The instructor guided her to walk slowly along a forest path, focusing on each step, feeling the texture of the earth, and noticing her breath. At first, Emily's mind rebelled, darting to her inbox or her latest project. But she persisted, gently bringing her attention back to her steps, the crunch of gravel, the sway of her body. Over weeks, she made this a daily ritual, walking a quarter-mile loop in her park each morning. The practice didn't erase her stress, but it gave her a space to pause, to breathe, and to feel grounded. When a client rejected her design pitch, instead of spiraling, Emily took a mindful walk, letting the rhythm of her steps soothe her nerves. She returned to her desk with a clearer mind, ready to revise her work with focus. This practice aligns with Stoic principles of control and presence. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Walking meditation embodies this by teaching us to control our attention, even when the world pulls us elsewhere. It also fosters critical thinking, a Stoic virtue that helps us question our mental habits. Why do we let our minds wander during a walk, replaying old arguments or planning future tasks? Are those thoughts serving us, or are they stealing our peace? By focusing on the sensations of walking, we train ourselves to let go of unhelpful mental loops, creating space for clarity. A 2024 study from the University of Colorado found that walking meditation reduced anxiety by 22% in participants, with benefits lasting hours after the practice. For Emily, this meant approaching her work with less reactivity, her decisions grounded in calm rather than panic. Walking meditation also reconnects us with our environment, a reminder of our place in the larger world, a Stoic ideal of living in harmony with nature. In 2025, when many of us spend 10 hours a day indoors, glued to screens, this practice is a rebellion against disconnection. Imagine walking a mile through your local park, noticing the scent of pine, the chirp of birds, the way sunlight filters through trees. These sensory details anchor you, reminding you that life is more than deadlines and notifications. The physical benefits are real, too. Walking at a mindful pace, about 2 miles per hour, improves circulation, lowers blood pressure, and boosts mood, according to a 2023 report from the American Heart Association. But the mental benefits are profound. By staying present, you learn to observe thoughts without attachment, a skill that spills into other areas of life. When stuck in traffic or facing a tough conversation, you can recall the rhythm of your steps, using it as a mental anchor to stay calm. How can you start? Find a quiet path, your backyard, a park trail, or even a hallway at work. Walk slowly, about half your usual pace, and focus on each step. Feel your heel touch the ground, your weight shift, your toes lift. Notice your breath, the air around you, the sounds of the world. If your mind wanders, gently guide it back to your steps. Start with 5 minutes, gradually extending to 15. You don't need a forest. A city sidewalk works if you focus on the sensations of movement. Try it during daily routines too, like walking to your car or around the block after dinner. Each step becomes a meditation, a chance to return to the present. For those who find seated meditation daunting, walking meditation is a gentle entry point, offering the same benefits of mindfulness in a dynamic form. As walking meditation grounds us in our bodies and the moment, compassion meditation opens our hearts, extending kindness to ourselves and others. The Stoics, while known for their rationality, also valued human connection, seeing compassion as a natural extension of our shared humanity. Epictetus taught that we should treat others with fairness and understanding, recognizing that everyone faces struggles. Compassion meditation, often called loving-kindness meditation, builds on this by cultivating a deliberate practice of goodwill. It's about sitting quietly, focusing on your breath, and silently repeating phrases like, "May I be happy," "May I be safe," then extending those wishes to loved ones, acquaintances, and even those you find difficult. This practice isn't just warm fuzzies. It's a powerful tool to rewire your mind, reduce stress, and build resilience in a world often marked by division. Consider Michael, a 42-year-old high school teacher in Atlanta who felt burned out by 2025's polarized climate. His classroom was a microcosm of broader tensions: students clashing over politics, parents sending angry emails, colleagues divided by stress. Michael's frustration spilled into his personal life, straining his marriage and leaving him cynical. A friend suggested compassion meditation, and though skeptical, he tried it. Each evening, he sat for 10 minutes, starting with himself, "May I be at peace, may I be strong." Then he pictured his students, even the disruptive ones, repeating, "May you be happy, may you be safe." He extended this to his colleagues, his wife, and eventually a parent who'd criticized him. At first, it felt forced, but over weeks, Michael noticed a shift. He felt less reactive, more patient. During a heated parent meeting, instead of snapping, he listened, picturing the parents' stress and silently wishing them calm. The meeting ended constructively, and Michael felt a weight lift. His classroom became less tense, his home warmer. Compassion meditation didn't solve every problem, but it gave him a tool to navigate conflict with grace. This practice is rooted in Stoic ethics and backed by science. A 2024 study from Harvard University found that compassion meditation increased activity in the brain's empathy centers by 28%, reducing stress and improving interpersonal relationships. It counters the negativity bias, our tendency to focus on threats or slights, by training us to notice and cultivate positive emotions. In a critical thinking lens, it challenges our assumptions about others. Why do we assume a rude coworker is inherently bad, rather than stressed or struggling? By wishing them well, we don't excuse their behavior but free ourselves from resentment's grip, a Stoic act of controlling our response. For Michael, this meant seeing his students' outbursts as cries for help, not personal attacks, allowing him to respond with empathy rather than anger. Compassion meditation also heals our relationship with ourselves, a foundation for Stoic self-mastery. In 2025, when social media amplifies comparison, perfect Instagram lives, LinkedIn success stories, it's easy to feel inadequate. Self-compassion counters this, reminding us to treat ourselves with the kindness we'd offer a friend. When you fail a project or miss a gym session, instead of thinking, "I'm a failure," try, "May I be kind to myself, may I grow from this." This shift reduces self-criticism, fostering resilience. A 2023 study from the University of Texas showed self-compassion practices lowered depression symptoms by 20%, helping participants face setbacks with hope. For Michael, self-compassion meant forgiving himself for a poorly received lesson, allowing him to refine his teaching without spiraling into doubt. How can you practice compassion meditation? Find a quiet spot, sit comfortably, and close your eyes. Start with 5 minutes, focusing on your breath. Silently repeat, "May I be happy, may I be safe," picturing yourself. Then visualize a loved one, repeating the phrases. Extend this to a neutral person like a cashier, then someone challenging like a difficult boss. Finally, wish well to all beings. May we all be happy, may we all be safe. Apps like Insight Timer can guide you, but the practice is simple enough to do alone. Try it daily, perhaps after your walking meditation, to blend presence with kindness. In daily life, apply it subtly. Wish a stressed coworker well in your mind, or pause to offer yourself kindness during a tough moment. These acts build a habit of compassion, softening life's edges. In 2025, when division and distraction dominate, walking and compassion meditation are acts of rebellion. Walking meditation roots us in the present, turning movement into mindfulness, while compassion meditation opens our hearts, fostering connection in a fractured world. Together, they embody Stoic wisdom. We can't control others or the chaos around us, but we can control our attention and our intentions. These practices don't just calm the mind. They transform how we live, work, and love, creating ripples of peace that touch everyone we meet. Next, we'll dive into nature as a focus for meditation and detachment exercises, practices that deepen our connection to the world and free us from the tyranny of fleeting thoughts. Imagine sitting on a grassy hill, the sun warming your face, a gentle breeze carrying the scent of wildflowers. In the distance, a stream gurgles, its rhythm blending with the chirping of birds. For a moment, your mind is still. No deadlines, no notifications, no nagging worries. You're not just in nature. You're part of it, fully present, your thoughts as fleeting as the clouds above. This is the power of nature meditation, a Stoic-inspired practice that uses the natural world as a focal point to anchor your mind, dissolve anxiety, and reconnect you with the present. And when paired with detachment exercises, which teach you to observe your thoughts like leaves floating on a river, these practices offer a profound path to mental clarity and emotional freedom. Building on the mindfulness, focus, and compassion we've explored, nature meditation and detachment deepen our Stoic journey, helping us navigate the complexities of 2025 with serenity and wisdom. Let's dive into these transformative practices, explore their roots, and discover how they can ground us in a world that often feels unmoored. Nature meditation is a celebration of our connection to the earth, a reminder that we are not separate from the world, but woven into its fabric. The Stoics, who saw nature as a guide for living virtuously, would have embraced this practice as a way to align with the universe's rhythms. Seneca wrote, "We should take wandering outdoor walks, so that the mind might be nourished and refreshed by the open air and deep breathing." In 2025, when the average American spends 90% of their time indoors, glued to screens or navigating urban sprawl, nature meditation is a radical act of reconnection. It's about stepping outside, whether to a city park, a suburban backyard, or a remote forest trail, and letting the sights, sounds, and sensations of the natural world become your meditation. It's about feeling the texture of grass underfoot, hearing the rustle of leaves, or watching sunlight dance on a lake. These elements aren't just scenery. They're anchors that pull you into the present, quieting the mental chatter that fuels stress. Consider Rachel, a 29-year-old accountant in Denver, Colorado, who felt overwhelmed by her high-pressure job. Her days were a blur of spreadsheets, meetings, and late-night emails, leaving her anxious and disconnected. On weekends, she'd hike in the nearby Rockies, but her mind often stayed at the office, replaying mistakes or planning Monday's tasks. Then, a friend introduced her to nature meditation during a group hike. They paused by a mountain stream, and Rachel was guided to sit, close her eyes, and focus on the sound of the water, the coolness of the air, the scent of pine. At first, her thoughts wandered to a missed deadline, a tense client call, but she gently brought her attention back to the stream's rhythm. After 10 minutes, she felt a stillness she hadn't known in years. Rachel began practicing this weekly, sitting by a local creek for 15 minutes, letting nature's pulse calm her own. When work stress spiked, she'd recall the stream's sound, grounding herself in the moment. This practice didn't eliminate her challenges, but it gave her a sanctuary, a way to reset and face her days with clarity. Nature meditation aligns with Stoic principles of presence and humility. The natural world, vast and indifferent, puts our worries in perspective. A 300-year-old oak tree doesn't care about your overdue report, nor does a flowing river fret over a social media spat. By immersing yourself in nature, you're reminded that your anxieties, though real, are small in the grand scheme. A Stoic lesson in focusing on what you can control. This practice also sharpens critical thinking. In our hyperdigital age, we're conditioned to react instantly to texts, news, or X posts, often without questioning. Nature meditation slows this reflex, inviting you to observe your thoughts as part of a larger ecosystem. Is that worry about a coworker's comment worth your energy? Or is it as fleeting as a passing cloud? A 2024 study from the University of California, Berkeley, found that nature-based mindfulness reduced cortisol levels by 18%, helping participants manage stress more effectively. For Rachel, this meant approaching client meetings with less reactivity, her mind steadied by the memory of her creekside meditations. The benefits of nature meditation extend beyond the mind to the body and soul. Walking barefoot on grass, feeling the sun's warmth, or listening to waves crash on a beach engages your senses, awakening a primal connection to the earth. A 2023 report from the National Institutes of Health showed that 20 minutes in nature lowered blood pressure and boosted mood, with effects lasting up to 6 hours. In a practical sense, this practice is accessible. You don't need a national park, a community garden, a tree-lined street, or even a potted plant on your balcony can suffice. The key is intentionality, choosing to focus on natural elements rather than letting your mind drift. Rachel, for instance, started small, meditating by a single tree in her apartment complex's courtyard when she couldn't reach a park. Over time, she noticed not just less anxiety but a deeper appreciation for her surroundings, a stoic gratitude for the world's beauty. How can you begin? Choose a natural setting, a park, a beach, or your backyard, and set aside 5 to 10 minutes. Sit or stand comfortably, close your eyes if it feels safe, and pick a focal point. The sound of wind, the feel of grass, the sight of a tree's branches swaying. Let this anchor your attention. If thoughts arise, work stress, personal doubts, acknowledge them gently and return to your focal point. A timer can help you stay focused without checking the clock. Try it weekly, perhaps after a walk, blending it with walking meditation for a seamless flow. In daily life, apply this awareness subtly. Pause to notice a flower on your commute or the breeze during a lunch break. These micro-moments of nature meditation build resilience, helping you stay present amid 2025's relentless pace. As nature meditation roots us in the external world, detachment exercises turn our gaze inward, teaching us to let go of the thoughts that bind us. The Stoics understood that our suffering often stems from clinging to desires, fears, or even joys, mistaking them for permanent truths. Epictetus said, "What need is there to weep over parts of life? The whole of it calls for tears." Detachment isn't about apathy or emotional numbness. It's about freedom, about observing your thoughts and emotions without letting them rule you. Picture your mind as a river, your thoughts as leaves floating on its surface. You don't need to grab each leaf, analyze it, or fight its flow. Instead, you watch, letting them drift by, knowing they'll soon be gone. This practice, rooted in Stoic impermanence, empowers you to stay calm and make wiser decisions, even in life's storms. Take David, a 37-year-old small business owner in Austin, Texas, who struggled with anger. Running a coffee shop in 2025's volatile economy was brutal. Supply chain issues, rising costs, and a competitor opening nearby pushed him to the edge. David's frustration boiled over, snapping at staff and losing sleep over what-ifs. A therapist introduced him to Stoic detachment, suggesting he visualize his thoughts as leaves on a stream. Each night, David sat for 10 minutes, picturing his worries, losing customers, failing to pay rent, as leaves floating away. At first, it felt silly, but he persisted. When a supplier canceled a delivery, instead of exploding, he paused, imagined the anger as a leaf, and let it pass. This gave him space to problem solve, negotiating a new supplier calmly. Detachment didn't erase his challenges, but it stopped them from consuming him, preserving his energy for what mattered, his business and his team. Detachment aligns with critical thinking by challenging our emotional reflexes. Why do we treat a fleeting frustration, like a delayed flight, as a catastrophe? Why let a single negative thought, like, "I'm not good enough," define our day? By observing thoughts without reacting, we create a mental buffer, allowing us to question their validity. This mirrors cognitive behavioral therapy's approach to reframing distorted thinking. a method shown to reduce emotional reactivity by 25% in a 2024 Yale study. For David, detachment meant recognizing that his fear of failure wasn't fact but a passing emotion, freeing him to focus on actionable steps. This practice also fosters Stoic resilience, reminding us that external events, market shifts, others' actions, are beyond our control, but our responses are ours to shape. Detachment extends to positive emotions, a nuanced Stoic insight. Clinging to joy, like the thrill of a promotion, sets us up for pain when it fades. By appreciating happiness without grasping it, we stay balanced, ready for life's ups and downs. Consider a parent watching their child's first soccer game, beaming with pride. Detachment doesn't mean suppressing that joy but savoring it without tying their identity to the moment, knowing the game will end and other challenges await. This balance is vital in 2025, when social media amplifies emotional highs and lows, from viral fame to public shaming. Detachment helps us ride these waves without drowning, a skill David used to celebrate a busy week at his shop without panicking when sales dipped. How can you practice detachment? Start with a 5-minute exercise. Sit quietly, close your eyes, and imagine a stream. As thoughts arise, worries, plans, memories, picture them as leaves floating by. Don't engage, just observe. If you get caught up, gently return to the stream. Apps like Waking Up offer guided versions, but the practice is simple enough alone. In daily life, apply it during stress. When stuck in a 2-mile traffic jam, visualize your frustration as a leaf and let it pass. Or when praised at work, enjoy it without clinging, knowing it's transient. These moments of detachment build mental clarity, helping you decide with reason, not impulse. A 2023 study from the University of Wisconsin found that such practices improved decision-making under stress by 20%, a boon for navigating 2025's uncertainties. Together, nature meditation and detachment exercises form a Stoic synergy. One connects us to the world's vastness, the other frees us from our mind's grip. In a year when climate concerns, economic shifts, and digital overload dominate, these practices are anchors. Nature meditation reminds us of our place in the universe, humbling our worries, while detachment empowers us to let go, preserving our peace. They teach us that we are not our thoughts, nor the chaos around us, but the ones who choose how to respond. A Stoic truth that lights the path to freedom. Next, we'll explore deep breathing techniques and identifying distorted thinking patterns, tools that sharpen our emotional control and mental clarity, guiding us closer to Stoic mastery. You're stuck in a gridlock on the I-405, the clock ticking toward a crucial work meeting, your heart pounding as frustration builds. Or maybe you're sitting at your desk, staring at an inbox overflowing with demands, your mind spiraling into a fog of stress. In these moments, it feels like your thoughts and emotions are in the driver's seat, steering you toward chaos. But what if you could hit pause, take a single deep breath, and feel the tension begin to melt? What if you could step back, question the thoughts fueling your panic, and see them for what they are, distorted, fleeting, and not the truth? This is the power of deep breathing and identifying distorted thinking patterns, two Stoic practices that work hand in hand to calm your mind, reduce stress, and restore clarity. Building on the mindfulness, compassion, and detachment we've explored, these tools offer practical ways to master your emotional responses and navigate the relentless pace of 2025 with resilience and wisdom. Let's dive into these transformative practices, uncover their Stoic roots, and learn how to apply them to create a life of balance and purpose. Deep breathing is deceptively simple, yet its impact is profound. The Stoics, who prized self-control as the cornerstone of a virtuous life, would have recognized its power to anchor the mind in moments of turmoil. Epictetus taught, "There is only one way to happiness, and that is to cease worrying about things which are beyond the power of our will." When stress or anger surges, our bodies react instinctively, heart racing, muscles tensing, breath shallowing, as if we're facing a physical threat. This fight-or-flight response, wired into us for survival, can hijack our minds, amplifying negative thoughts and clouding our judgment. Deep breathing interrupts this cycle, slowing your heart rate, lowering blood pressure, and signaling to your brain that you're safe. It's like pressing a reset button, creating a mental space where you can choose how to respond rather than react impulsively. In a world where stress is a constant companion, whether from work deadlines, social media pressures, or global uncertainties, this practice is a lifeline. Consider Laura, a 31-year-old marketing coordinator in Boston, whose job demanded constant multitasking. By mid-2025, she was juggling client campaigns, team meetings, and a side hustle, her stress levels skyrocketing. During a particularly tense day, a client criticized her work harshly, and Laura felt her chest tighten, her thoughts racing. "I'm failing. I'll lose this account." On the verge of tears, she remembered a Stoic breathing technique from a podcast. She stepped into a quiet conference room, closed her eyes, and took slow, deep breaths, inhaling for 4 seconds through her nose, holding for 4, exhaling for 6 through her mouth. After 5 minutes, her heart slowed, her mind cleared. Instead of firing off a defensive email, she paused, reviewed the client's feedback, and responded with a calm, constructive plan. That moment of clarity saved the account and taught Laura a lesson. Control doesn't come from changing the situation, but from mastering your response. She now uses this technique daily, breathing deeply before meetings or during commutes, turning stress into an opportunity for focus. The science backs this up. A 2024 study from Johns Hopkins University found that diaphragmatic breathing reduced cortisol levels by 20% within 10 minutes, improving emotional regulation and decision-making under pressure. This aligns with Stoic philosophy, which emphasizes focusing on what's within our control: our breath, our thoughts, our actions. Deep breathing also enhances mindfulness, a thread running through our Stoic journey. By focusing on the sensation of air moving through your lungs, you anchor yourself in the present, letting worries about the past or future fade. For Laura, this meant grounding herself during a 2-mile commute on the subway, noticing her breath instead of scrolling X, arriving at work centered and ready. This practice isn't just for crises. It's a daily tool to cultivate calm, like a muscle you strengthen with use. How can you practice deep breathing? Start with a simple exercise. Find a quiet spot, your car, your bedroom, or a park bench, and sit comfortably. Inhale deeply through your nose for 4 seconds, feeling your belly expand. Hold for 4 seconds, then exhale slowly through your mouth for 6 seconds, letting tension release. Repeat for 5 minutes, noticing the rhythm of your breath. If your mind wanders, gently bring it back. Apps like Breathe to Relax can guide you, but the technique is portable, requiring no tools. Integrate it into daily life. Breathe deeply for 1 minute before a presentation, during a coffee break, or when you feel anger rising in a family argument. For variety, try progressive muscle relaxation, tensing and releasing each muscle group as you breathe, a method shown to reduce stress by 15% in a 2023 UCLA study. These moments of intentional breathing create a buffer, giving you the clarity to act with reason, not emotion. Deep breathing sets the stage for identifying distorted thinking patterns, a practice that dives deeper into the Stoic art of mental clarity. Our minds are storytellers, weaving narratives about the world, often flawed ones. A missed deadline becomes, "I'm a failure." A friend's curt text becomes, "They hate me." These distorted thoughts, like funhouse mirrors, warp reality, fueling stress and self-doubt. The Stoics, with their razor-sharp focus on reason, urged us to question these stories. Epictetus said, "Men are disturbed not by things, but by the views they take of them." By identifying and challenging distorted thinking, we strip away their power, aligning our perceptions with reality. This practice, rooted in Stoic logic, mirrors cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, which helps us reframe unhelpful thoughts, a method embraced by millions in 2025 for its practical impact. Take Alex, a 39-year-old freelance writer in Los Angeles, who battled chronic self-criticism. When a client rejected his article pitch in early 2025, Alex's mind spiraled. "I'm a terrible writer. I'll never get another gig." This all-or-nothing thinking, a classic distortion, left him paralyzed, unable to work for days. A therapist introduced him to CBT-inspired Stoic exercises, teaching him to spot distorted patterns like catastrophizing, assuming the worst, and overgeneralization. One failure means all failures. Alex began journaling his thoughts after setbacks, asking, "Is this thought true? What evidence supports it?" For the rejected pitch, he listed evidence. He'd landed 10 clients that year. The rejection was one of dozens of pitches, and the client's feedback was specific, not personal. This shifted his perspective. One rejection doesn't define me. And he submitted 3 new pitches, landing 2. By questioning his thoughts, Alex reclaimed his confidence. A Stoic triumph of reason over emotion. Distorted thinking patterns are sneaky, often disguised as truth. All or nothing thinking, like, if I don't ace this presentation, I'm a failure, ignores the gray areas of life. Catastrophizing, such as, missing this deadline will ruin my career, blows problems out of proportion. Emotional reasoning, I feel anxious, so something bad must be coming, mistakes feelings for facts. Overgeneralization, like I messed up once, so I always will, turns a single event into a universal rule. These patterns thrive in 2025's high-stakes culture, where social media amplifies comparison and failure feels like a public spectacle. But by naming them, we disarm them. A 2024 study from the University of Pennsylvania showed that CBT-based interventions reduced negative thinking by 30%, improving mental health outcomes. For Alex, recognizing these patterns was like shining a flashlight into a dark room, revealing thoughts as distortions, not destinies. This practice demands critical thinking, a Stoic virtue that cuts through mental fog. When a thought arises, pause and interrogate it. What's the evidence? Is this a fact or an assumption? Could I see this differently? This mirrors the Socratic method, questioning assumptions to uncover truth. For instance, if you think, my boss ignored me, she must be mad. Consider alternatives. Maybe she's stressed, distracted, or didn't see you. This reframing, grounded in reason, frees you from unnecessary worry. It's also a form of Stoic detachment, observing thoughts without letting them rule. In a world where X posts can spark outrage or insecurity in seconds, this skill is vital, helping you navigate digital noise with discernment. How can you identify distorted thinking? Start with journaling. After a stressful moment, write down the triggering event, your thoughts, and your emotions. For example, event, missed a deadline. Thought, I'm incompetent. Emotion, shame. Then challenge the thought. What's the evidence for and against it? What's a balanced perspective? Apps like MoodPath can prompt these reflections, but a notebook works just as well. In daily life, practice the pause and question technique. When a negative thought hits, take a deep breath and ask, is this true? Try it during small frustrations like a delayed coffee order or bigger ones like a work setback. Over time, this builds a habit of mental clarity, reducing the power of distorted thoughts. For variety, discuss your thoughts with a trusted friend or therapist, whose perspective can reveal blind spots, a method shown to boost CBT effectiveness by 15% in a 2023 Stanford study. Deep breathing and identifying distorted thinking are Stoic powerhouses, working in tandem to calm the body and clarify the mind. Breathing grounds you in the present, creating space to observe your thoughts, while challenging distortions ensures those thoughts align with reality. In 2025, when stress is amplified by economic uncertainty, political division, and digital overload, these practices are anchors. They remind us that we can't control the world, traffic jams, client rejections, or global events, but we can control our breath, our thoughts, our responses. By mastering these tools, we move closer to Stoic freedom, living with purpose and peace no matter what life brings. Next, we'll explore establishing a routine and the practice of gratitude, practices that bring structure and positivity to our lives, helping us combat chaos and cultivate lasting contentment. It's 6 a.m., and your alarm blares, pulling you from a restless sleep. The day ahead looms like a mountain, emails to answer, errands to run, a presentation to nail. Your mind starts racing, a familiar knot of anxiety tightening in your chest as you wonder how you'll get through it all. But imagine a different start. You rise at the same time each morning, sip coffee while jotting down 3 things you're thankful for, then tackle your most important task with focus. This isn't a fantasy. It's the power of establishing routines and practicing gratitude, 2 Stoic practices that bring order to chaos and joy to the everyday. Rooted in the Stoic belief that we can control our actions and perspectives, these tools create stability, sharpen focus, and cultivate a deep sense of contentment. Building on the breathing, mindfulness, and mental clarity we've explored, routines and gratitude offer practical ways to anchor your life and thrive in the whirlwind of 2025. Let's dive into these transformative practices, uncover their Stoic wisdom, and learn how to weave them into our modern lives for a sense of purpose and peace. Establishing a routine is like building a sturdy house in a storm-prone world. The Stoics, who navigated the unpredictability of ancient Rome, understood that structure breeds freedom. Epictetus said, "Make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens." In 2025, when economic shifts, global unrest, and digital distractions create a constant hum of uncertainty, a routine is a lifeline. It's not about rigidity, but about creating a framework that reduces mental clutter, freeing your mind for what matters. Waking up at 7 a.m. daily, eating meals at set times, or carving out 30 minutes for exercise isn't just scheduling. It's an act of self-mastery. By automating small decisions, like when to work or sleep, you conserve mental energy, sidestepping the paralysis of overthinking. This stability fosters focus, confidence, and a sense of control, even when life feels like a roller coaster. Consider Maya, a 35-year-old single mom and nurse in Chicago, whose life was a juggling act. Between 12-hour hospital shifts, raising her 8-year-old son, and managing bills, Maya felt like she was drowning in chaos. Her mornings were frantic, rushing to get her son to school, skipping breakfast, arriving at work frazzled. By late 2025, burnout loomed. A coworker, inspired by Stoic philosophy, suggested a simple routine. Maya started small, waking at 6:30 a.m., spending 10 minutes stretching, and packing her son's lunch the night before. She set a 10 p.m. bedtime and reserved Sunday afternoons for meal prep. At first, the structure felt restrictive, but within weeks, she noticed a shift. Mornings became calmer, her focus at work sharper. When a patient crisis hit, she handled it with clarity, her routine grounding her like a steady pulse. Maya's routine didn't eliminate life's demands, but it gave her a scaffold to climb them, a Stoic act of controlling what she could. This practice aligns with Stoic discipline and modern neuroscience. A 2024 study from the University of Michigan found that consistent daily routines reduced anxiety by 22% and improved cognitive performance by 15%, as they lower the brain's decision-making load. In a world where the average American checks their phone 144 times a day, routines counteract the mental fragmentation caused by constant notifications. For Maya, a fixed schedule meant fewer snap decisions. Her morning stretch replaced scrolling X, preserving her energy for patient care. Routines also foster critical thinking, a Stoic virtue. By creating predictable patterns, you gain mental space to question reactive thoughts, like, "I can't handle this shift." Instead, you lean on your routine's rhythm, approaching challenges with reason. This mirrors the Stoic practice of premeditatio malorum, mentally preparing for obstacles, which Maya did by visualizing her day each morning. Routines are deeply personal, shaped by your life's demands. A freelancer might block 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. for deep work, while a student might dedicate 8 p.m. to studying. The key is consistency, not perfection. Start small. Choose one anchor, like a 7 a.m. wake-up or a 15-minute evening walk, and stick to it for 2 weeks. Track it with a simple app like Habitica or a paper calendar. Gradually add layers: 30 minutes of reading, a fixed lunch at noon, or a 10-minute meditation. Flexibility is crucial. If a shift runs late, adjust, but return to your rhythm. In 2025, when remote work and hybrid schedules blur boundaries, routines draw clear lines, protecting your time and sanity. Maya, for instance, guarded her Sunday meal prep like a sacred ritual, ensuring her week started strong. This structure didn't just reduce her stress. It gave her a sense of agency, a stoic triumph over chaos. While routines provide stability, practicing gratitude infuses life with joy, shifting your focus from what's lacking to what's abundant. The Stoics, despite their stoic reputation, were no strangers to appreciation. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Dwell on the beauty of life, watch the stars, and see yourself running with them." Gratitude isn't about ignoring pain but about recognizing the small victories that light our days. A coworker's smile, a warm meal, the sun breaking through clouds. In 2025, when social media fuels comparison and news cycles amplify despair, gratitude is a quiet rebellion, a choice to see the good amid the noise. It's about pausing to notice the barista who remembers your order, the laughter of a child, or the fact that you have a roof over your head. These moments, woven together, create a tapestry of contentment that sustains you through life's storms. Take Jordan, a 27-year-old tech support specialist in Seattle, who felt trapped in a rut. His job was repetitive, his apartment small, and his social life stalled by 2025's lingering post-pandemic isolation. Jordan's mind fixated on what he didn't have: a promotion, a bigger place, a vibrant friend group, leaving him anxious and disengaged. A mentor suggested a stoic gratitude practice. Each night, write 3 things that went well that day. Jordan started reluctantly, noting small wins: a glitch-free workday, a sunny 2-mile walk, a funny X post from a friend. At first, it felt trivial, but over weeks, his perspective shifted. He noticed how his coworkers' tech tips saved him time, how his tiny balcony bloomed with herbs, how a stranger held the elevator. These weren't grand victories, but they sparked joy, reducing his anxiety and making his days feel richer. When a major project failed, Jordan leaned on gratitude, listing what he'd learned, which kept him motivated to try again. Gratitude's power is backed by science. A 2024 study from UCLA showed that daily gratitude practices increased dopamine and serotonin levels by 20%, boosting mood and reducing depression symptoms. This aligns with Stoic philosophy, which sees gratitude as a way to accept life as it is, not as we wish it to be. It also sharpens critical thinking, challenging the negativity bias that makes us dwell on setbacks. When Jordan felt overlooked for a promotion, he questioned his thought, "I'm stuck forever." By listing his recent successes, solving a client issue, mentoring a new hire, he saw his value, reframing the setback as temporary. This stoic act of reasoning mirrors CBT's cognitive restructuring, a method that helps millions reframe distorted thoughts. Gratitude also strengthens relationships, a stoic ideal of living in harmony with others. In 2025, when digital interactions often replace face-to-face connection, expressing thanks verbally or in a note builds bonds. Jordan started thanking his coworkers for small favors, like sharing a snack, and noticed a warmer team dynamic. A 2023 Pew Research Center survey found that 70% of Americans feel unappreciated daily, making gratitude a powerful antidote. It's not just about feeling good. It's about creating a ripple effect, uplifting those around you. For Jordan, a simple thanks to his mentor sparked a deeper mentorship, guiding his career path. How can you practice gratitude? Start with a gratitude journal. Each night, write 3 things you're thankful for, no matter how small. A tasty lunch, a kind word, a clear sky. Apps like Day One can streamline this, but a notebook works fine. Be specific. Instead of, "I'm grateful for my job," write, "I'm grateful for my coworkers' help with a tricky ticket." Spend 5 minutes reflecting on why these matter. Alternatively, try a morning gratitude meditation. Sit quietly, breathe deeply, and visualize 3 things you appreciate. In daily life, weave gratitude into moments. Thank a cashier, savor a meal's flavors, or pause to admire a sunset. These acts rewire your brain to notice the positive, a habit Jordan found transformative during Seattle's gray winters. For variety, share gratitude with others. Text a friend to thank them or start a family tradition of sharing one win at dinner. These practices, rooted in Stoic acceptance, cultivate lasting happiness. Routines and gratitude are Stoic pillars, working together to create a life of stability and joy. Routines provide a framework, reducing the mental noise that fuels anxiety, while gratitude fills that framework with meaning, turning ordinary moments into sources of delight. In 2025, when global challenges and personal pressures collide, these practices are anchors, grounding us in what we can control, our habits, our perspectives. They remind us that freedom lies not in escaping life storms, but in navigating them with purpose. For Maya, routines brought order to her chaotic days. For Jordan, gratitude illuminated his path. By embracing these tools, we step closer to Stoic mastery, living with clarity and contentment no matter what comes. Next, we'll explore journaling and embracing silence, practices that deepen self-awareness and inner peace, helping us conquer chaotic thoughts and connect with our truest selves. You're sitting at your kitchen table, the world outside quiet except for the soft hum of evening traffic. A notebook lies open before you, a pen in hand, and as you write, the weight of the day, its frustrations, joys, and fleeting thoughts, pours onto the page. For a moment, you're not just reacting to life, you're understanding it, seeing your mind's patterns with clarity. Later, you step away, find a quiet corner, and simply sit, letting the silence wrap around you like a warm blanket. In that stillness, you hear your own heartbeat, your own wisdom, untouched by the noise of the world. This is the transformative power of journaling and embracing silence, two Stoic practices that deepen self-awareness, release emotional burdens, and connect you to your inner truth. Building on the routines, gratitude, and mental clarity we've explored, these final tools complete our Stoic journey, offering a path to self-discovery and lasting peace in the whirlwind of 2025. Let's dive into these profound practices, uncover their Stoic roots, and learn how to weave them into our lives for a sense of purpose and serenity. Journaling is more than a record of events. It's a mirror for the mind, a space to untangle thoughts, confront emotions, and chart your growth. The Stoics, who valued self-reflection as a path to virtue, practiced a form of journaling through their meditations. Marcus Aurelius' Meditations, a collection of personal reflections, is a testament to this, filled with insights on resilience, duty, and reason. In 2025, when our minds are bombarded by posts, work emails, and the constant pull of digital life, journaling offers a sanctuary. It's a deliberate act of slowing down, of capturing the raw, unfiltered contents of your mind. Fears about a job loss, joy from a friend's call, or frustration over a missed deadline. By putting pen to paper, you externalize your inner world, gaining distance to see it clearly. This clarity reveals patterns, like a tendency to catastrophize small setbacks, and fosters self-awareness, a Stoic cornerstone that empowers you to live intentionally. Consider Sarah, a 32-year-old teacher in Minneapolis, who felt overwhelmed by the demands of her classroom and personal life. In early 2025, she was grappling with burnout, her thoughts a jumble of self-doubt and stress. After a parent-teacher conference went poorly, she spiraled, thinking, "I'm a terrible teacher. I'm failing my students." A colleague suggested journaling, inspired by Stoic practices. Sarah started writing 10 minutes each night, describing her day's events, thoughts, and emotions. She noted the conference, her feelings of shame, "I'm not good enough," and her physical tension. Over weeks, she spotted a pattern. She often assumed one mistake defined her worth, a distortion she hadn't noticed before. Journaling became a safe space to challenge these thoughts, asking, "Is this true? Have I helped students before?" She listed evidence, students who'd thanked her, lessons that sparked engagement. Shifting her perspective to "one tough day doesn't define me." This clarity helped her approach teaching with renewed confidence, her decisions grounded in reason rather than emotion. Journaling's power lies in its ability to bridge Stoic philosophy and modern psychology. A 2024 study from the University of Chicago found that expressive writing reduced stress by 18% and improved decision-making by 15%, as it helps process emotions and clarify goals. This aligns with Stoic critical thinking, which urges us to question reactive thoughts. Sarah's journaling echoed the Stoic practice of examining impressions, testing whether a thought, like, "I'm failing," holds up to scrutiny. By writing, she created a mental buffer, distancing herself from raw emotions and aligning her actions with reason. This also mirrors cognitive behavioral therapy's thought records, used widely in 2025 to reframe distorted thinking. For Sarah, journaling wasn't just cathartic. It was a tool to break negative cycles, like assuming a parent's criticism meant she was incompetent, allowing her to respond with constructive solutions instead. Beyond clarity, journaling is a release valve for emotions, a Stoic act of managing what's within our control. In a world where suppressing feelings is common, think of the pressure to stay positive on social media. Writing offers a safe outlet. Anger at a coworker, grief over a lost opportunity, or anxiety about finances can be poured onto the page, losing their intensity. Sarah found this during a week of budget stress. Writing, "I'm terrified we won't make rent," let her release the fear, then brainstorm solutions, like cutting subscriptions. This emotional alchemy, turning raw feelings into insight, fosters resilience, a Stoic virtue. Journaling also sharpens decision-making. By reviewing past entries, you spot what works, say a calm response to a student's outburst, and what doesn't, like snapping under pressure. A 2023 Harvard study showed that reflective writing improved problem-solving by 20%, a skill Sarah used to redesign her lesson plans with greater impact. How can you journal? Start with 5 minutes nightly using a notebook or app like Notion. Write freely about your day, events, thoughts, emotions without censoring. For structure, try prompts. What challenged me today? How did I respond? What can I learn? Or use the Stoic lens. What was in my control? What wasn't? Review weekly to spot patterns, like recurring self-criticism, and challenge them with evidence. In daily life, journal during stress. After a tough meeting, jot down your thoughts on your phone to process them. Sarah kept a small notebook in her bag, scribbling during lunch breaks to stay grounded. For variety, write letters you won't send, expressing gratitude or frustration, a practice that helped Sarah forgive a critical parent. These habits, rooted in Stoic reflection, build a deeper understanding of yourself, guiding you toward wiser choices. While journaling illuminates the mind, embracing silence deepens your connection to the soul, offering a space to listen to your inner wisdom. The Stoics revered silence as a path to clarity, a way to strip away distractions and hear the voice of reason. Seneca wrote, "Why be silent? Because in silence we find ourselves." In 2025, silence is a rare commodity. Urban noise, smartphone pings, and the 24/7 news cycle create a constant din, drowning out our thoughts. Yet silence isn't just the absence of sound. It's a conscious choice to pause, reflect, and reconnect with what matters. It's sitting quietly in your living room, no devices, feeling your breath, hearing your heartbeat. It's walking a mile without earbuds, noticing the world's subtle rhythms. In these moments, you're not just escaping noise. You're embracing your own presence, a Stoic act of self-mastery that brings peace. Take Daniel, a 41-year-old lawyer in New York City, whose life was a whirlwind of court dates, client calls, and family responsibilities. By mid-2025, he felt disconnected, his mind cluttered with stress and self-doubt. During a rare weekend retreat, he experienced a silent meditation, sitting by a lake for 20 minutes, no phone, no agenda. At first, his thoughts raced. Cases, deadlines, a recent argument. But as he focused on the lake's ripples, the silence enveloped him. He felt a clarity he hadn't known in years, realizing his stress stemmed from chasing external validation. Daniel began carving out silent moments daily, 10 minutes before bed, sitting in his apartment, or a quiet 1-mile walk in Central Park. These pauses helped him process a high-stakes case, approaching it with calm rather than panic. Silence didn't solve his problems, but it gave him the space to face them with wisdom, a Stoic triumph of inner strength. Silence aligns with Stoic philosophy by fostering reflection, a prerequisite for virtue. In silence, you question reactive thoughts, like, "I must work harder to prove myself," and hear your deeper values, balance, integrity, connection. This critical thinking, a Stoic hallmark, counters 2025's culture of constant reaction, where X posts spark instant outrage or envy. A 2024 study from Stanford found that 15 minutes of daily silence reduced stress by 23% and improved emotional regulation, as it activates the brain's default mode network, linked to self-awareness. For Daniel, silence revealed his overwork was driven by fear, not necessity, prompting him to delegate tasks and reclaim family time. This practice also echoes Stoic detachment, letting thoughts arise and pass without clinging, creating a mental spaciousness that fosters peace. Silence is also a gateway to intuition, what the Stoics called the inner guide. In a world obsessed with external input, podcasts, news, social media, silence reconnects you to your own wisdom. Daniel found this during a silent walk, realizing he wanted to mentor young lawyers, a goal he buried under daily grind. This clarity, born in stillness, aligns with Stoic purpose, living in accordance with nature and reason. Silence also humbles us, a Stoic virtue. Sitting quietly, you're reminded of your smallness in the universe's vastness, a perspective that dwarfs personal worries. A 2023 Yale study showed that silent reflection increased life satisfaction by 17%, as it fosters gratitude and meaning. For Daniel, silence made him appreciate simple joys, his daughter's laughter, a quiet coffee, grounding him amid New York's chaos. How can you embrace silence? Start with 5 minutes daily. Sit in a quiet space. No phone, no music, and focus on your breath or a subtle sound, like a clock's tick. If thoughts arise, observe them, returning to the silence. Apps like Calm offer guided silence, but it's simple alone. Build it into routines. Eat a silent breakfast, noticing each bite, or take a quiet 10-minute walk. In daily life, seek microsilences. Pause for 1 minute before a call, or sit quietly in your car post-commute. Daniel used subway rides, sans earbuds, to reflect, finding calm in the city's hum. For variety, try silent activities, like gardening or knitting, letting the task anchor you. These moments, rooted in Stoic stillness, reduce stress and deepen your connection to yourself. Journaling and silence are the capstones of our Stoic journey, weaving together the threads of mindfulness, compassion, and clarity we've explored. Journaling illuminates your inner world, revealing patterns and guiding decisions, while silence offers a space to listen, to integrate, to simply be. In 2025, when digital noise and global pressures threaten to overwhelm, these practices are anchors, grounding us in what we control, our thoughts, our presence. Sarah's journal helped her conquer self-doubt. Daniel's silence restored his purpose. Together, these tools embody the Stoic truth. We can't control the world, but we can master our minds. As we close this journey, reflect on the 13 practices, from impermanence to silence, that form a roadmap to freedom. Each step, whether a deep breath, a grateful note, or a quiet moment, is a choice to live rationally, to find peace amid chaos, to become the architect of your own happiness. In a world that demands reaction, choose reflection. In a life of noise, choose silence. And in every moment, choose yourself.